Hi everyone, welcome to Lauren's Scraplot. My name is Lauren Urbonas and you have found the Great North American Stamping Show Season 6, Episode 2. I am competing with my friends Lisa, Jodie, and Julie to gain your vote to see who will be the winner for our little friendly competition. I'd love to give a big shout out to Lisa and Julie. They tied for first last week, and so Jodie and I are going to bring our games this week and see if we can change your mind about who a favorite card belongs to. So for this week, and if you haven't tuned in before, we pick a different layout from the holiday catalog and recreate it using supplies from our own collections. They can be from the holiday catalog, they can be online exclusives, or they can be from the main annual catalog. But of course, we are going to try and give you ideas beyond what you just see in front of you. So for page 17, the four of us have chosen one of these layouts to recreate. I decided to go with this one up in the top left here, this gorgeous nativity scene, and I have recreated it using the new Sunflower 3D embossing folder and the annual catalog Coneflower bundle. So I'm going to show you how to make this card. I put all of the measurements in the description below, so you're welcome to pause and cut all your pieces, or you can just follow along whenever you have a chance. If you don't own everything that I do, that's okay. You can sub in for something else that you have. Or if you're in Canada, I'd love to be your demonstrator. So reach out and I'll get you connected with the catalog. You can also check out my website, laurenurbonas.stampinup.net, to see all of these products in action and how you can order them. So let me show you how to make this card. But just a reminder, once you've finished watching with me, go and watch the other 3 videos. I put the links in the description, and then come back and click the like button on whichever card you think should win, or go ahead and click the like on all 4 of them, because honestly, we just love that you're here. And please do comment and engage with us. We love to hear from you guys, and it also helps the videos reach more people that way, because YouTube seems to think that, if you're commenting, then other people should watch it. So it takes a couple seconds of your time, and we just really appreciate the effort. So I'm going to show you how to make this card. Stick around to the end because I have a couple other cards to show you using the Sunflower embossing folder as well. They have nothing to do with the competition, but they're still fun to see. All right, see the connections here? We've got that nice torn center. I'm going to move the catalog now, and we are going to get creative. So to begin, you're going to grab a card base of your choice. I went with Misty Moonlight because I love that color combination with copper. So this one is going to be 4 1/4 by 11, and we're putting a score mark in the middle here at 5 1/2. That's a standard card size, and I'm going to switch that to this side because I need to fold over here. So if you've got a bone folder handy, make sure to give that a nice clean burnish. And then before we do anything on the front, we always want to fill in the inside of our card with something to write on. Blue is really hard to read, so it's your choice. You can grab white if you want. Vanilla would look gorgeous. I went with beige actually for the inside of this card because I liked the rustic feel that beige had, and I kind of thought the tones and the wood grain paper that I'm using were really rustic. So this piece is 4 by 5 1/4. You're just going to mount it with a flat adhesive into the inside of that card. Now, one other thing that you can add is a piece of scrap paper to decorate the bottom of your card. That piece, see, you can see mine there, can come from any of your scrap stash. Don't just cut a piece from a full 12 by 12 paper, please. If nothing else, just leave the inside blank like this. But whenever I'm making card bases, I end up with strips that are 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch, 1 1/2 inch wide, and they will also just sit around if I let them. So I thought, hey, let's throw one of them inside the card. It doesn't matter what side you're going to use, but this one, for instance, is 4 inches long, which you do need, and it happens to be 3/4 of an inch tall. But please modify this according to whatever scraps you have, because it's literally just an embellishment for the inside of your card and a way to use up the paper. Okay, so Add that in there. It's great. And we're done the front of the card, or the inside of the card. We're not done the front. We're going to actually put this card base to the side for a moment now and focus on building this card front just on the table in front of me. We'll attach it in a few minutes, okay? So I decided to grab gorgeous, gorgeous designer series paper from the Country Woods package. This is found in our annual catalog, and it actually carried over from last year, which I was so happy to see because it can tie in just so many of our suites. If you're in the Christmas mood, then you can tie it into like a barn and a winter scene. If you're still in a fall mood, of course, any flowers, rustic look will perfectly compare. And if you have that gorgeous notes and totes bundle with the little beach bag, it looks like you're at a beach. So lots of potential with that one. I grabbed just a plank piece and I've cut this at 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to set it aside for a moment and concentrate on this brown wood grain piece next. So I have that already resting inside my embossing folder. I didn't want to make you guys dizzy by bringing my thing back and forth because I want to show you embossing already. So this embossing folder, you can see it's massive. So it's a 6-inch wide one, and it does fit in your cut and emboss machine, so don't be afraid. The designer series paper that you're going to want to cut is going to be 4 inches across. That's going to match the layer underneath. And then it's up to you how much of the layer under you're actually showing. So if you don't want a lot, then you're going to make this larger than what I'm telling you. If you want this skinnier, of course, take some inches off. But I've cut mine at 4 inches across the top by 4 1/4. I am going to be ripping some of that paper off later, and you'll see it kind of shrinks it down in size for us. Now, this embossing folder, you can do this technique with the paper faced either way, but my suggestion for you to get the most gorgeous gold image, and by gold I mean copper, is to put your paper in. So, you know, here's the Stampin' Up! Logo. We're actually going to show the side that you are hiding when you look through the front of this embossing folder. Okay, so when I put this in, instead of putting the brown up like you usually would to get the nice, I don't think you can see it, the nice sunflower raised look, we're actually putting it on upside down so we get the indented sunflower look. So that's just a reminder. Look at the sunflower logo, put your page in upside down, and run it through. This is a 3D embossing folder, so you'll need that specialty plate. It comes with the cut and emboss machine from Stampin' Up! But if you own something else like a Cuttlebug or the old Big Shot, you'll just have to go online and purchase what's called the specialty plate. It has a number 4 up in the top and it's gray. It's thicker than your clear plates, and you actually don't use the clear plates when you run this through. But here we go. Here's our nice, gorgeous piece. Ready to learn the technique? Okay, so you want some sort of scrap paper to work on here because you're going to get a little inky, and don't forget you can also click this pause button if you do accidentally get a little inkier than you're expecting. Go wash your hands and then come back and finish the rest of the card, okay? You're going to grab your Versamark ink and your copper embossing powder, and then as I mentioned, you need some sort of scrap to work on. So I like to use these chipboard pieces that come with the specialty designer series papers. I find they're thick enough that the heat isn't going to go through onto my desk or anything, and they're very flat and easy to work on. So with the side, the brown side here, we're going to take our Versamark ink and very gently start rubbing it across our surface. You don't want to dig into the paper because then basically the entire thing is going to get embossed and you won't have the difference in looks. So all we're going to do is just gently, gently rub this ink pad, and this is why I say you need scrap under you, across your folder. That will touch all of the raised sections, and it should leave the other ones alone. If it gets into a couple, don't worry. This piece, because we've basically covered every square inch, you'll want those pairs of tweezers that come with the embossing. And you see, you can tell I've got some sticky ink on there. You'll see more in a minute here. Let's scoop this up. Tap, tap, tap. It does not look very pretty right now. All the metallic powders, very bland and boring till you actually add the heat. But there we go. I've got embossing powder on all of the places that I think I want it. Can do one more pass just to be sure. And a little tap, tap, tap in case there's any extra hiding. And now we're going to heat emboss this. So embossing with metallic embossing powders is the easiest thing because you can see them turn shiny as soon as they're heated and ready to go. I find it frustrating with the black and white sometimes that you have to kind of hold them up to different lightings, but you're going to see very quickly, as soon as this looks shiny, that part's done, we're going to move on to somewhere else. So, got our heat tool, let's go. All right, I think I got all that. See how pretty it is? I love it. Okay, we are going to do a little bit of ripping now. This is kind of fun and probably not what you're used to, but make sure your flower is hanging out the right way. And then we're going to give this ruffled look that we found from our card inspiration to this specific piece, okay? So I'm going to rip across the top, just lifting up towards myself. And you can go in a relatively straight line, or if you want, you can go diagonal, but as soon as you rip up, it does give you a natural kind of bumpy border. So across the top and across the bottom, I'm gonna do that same thing. There we go. This piece now we're going to attach to that great wood grain white. I am going to put a flat adhesive on the back of this. Keep in mind whenever you're putting adhesive on something that's been embossed, it is a little trickier to have it attach because some parts are sticking and some aren't. So I like to go around the whole perimeter with my adhesive. And I'm a double-sided tape person. If you prefer seal or even glue, go for it. It is completely up to you and what your preference is here. There we go. Okay, I'm going to center this onto my white. You can go up towards the top, down towards the bottom if you have a preference, but I'm centering mine right there. There. This would be a great time if you have drastically cut these different to just take this to your trimmer and give it a little bit of a trim. But the other way to hide that difference is to add a little texture with some scissors. So this is a completely optional step, but if you want to give it a little bit more of a rustic look to kind of match this ripped section, we're going to take the edge of a scissor blade and just rub it across your paper. You're going to make a mess, but do you see the difference between this rustic, roughed up edge and a pretty standard straight line? This is not a straight line card. This card has character. This card isn't afraid to get a little natural looking. So let's just add that detail. This is why we didn't attach this piece to the card base. And because we're going to add some linen thread too. Again, a very natural tone. You can use other baker's twine if you want, but linen thread's my go-to. So easy. We always have it in hand. Okay, to grab your linen thread, you'll need about 20 inches. I just leave mine on the roll, to be honest. Wrap it and then trim it when I'm ready. But in order to start, I always like to have 2 pieces of tape handy. You can use double-sided tape or Scotch tape. Nobody's going to see what these are. But you do need tape to hold this piece in the back. Okay, so one end of your linen thread gets attached to the back of the card. And then we're going to wrap this around 3 times. You can do it in straight lines, or you can do diagonal lines like I prefer. So just 3 times all the way around the card. So in some regard, you have 3 crisscross lines, okay? They're gonna look different every time you do this. And then this piece on the back, because we've got that piece of tape handy, can easily be attached and snipped off, and we haven't wasted any of our precious linen thread. Now this is going to be attached to the card front, but because you've added linen thread, I do suggest popping this piece up on dimensionals. It'll just give you enough space to work with, so the linen thread doesn't cause ugly bumps in your card. So putting dimensionals all the way around the perimeter here is perfect. You can even throw a couple in the center of the card if you really want that stability. And then we can put this onto our card front. Ooh, that one does not want to come off. There we go. Much better. Okay, back to the front. Make sure your flowers are facing the right way and that the card is opening the right way before you connect them. I've definitely put these on upside down before because I wasn't paying attention. Okay, now to finish up the card, what are we going to grab? We are going to grab our stylish shaped circles. This one is, I believe, the 4th largest. It's just large enough for me to mount the butterfly from the Coneflower celebrations. Now this is one of the sets that I've been playing with this fall. I'm going to play with this sunflower at my card club, but we also have this great looking butterfly here that I thought, okay, what happens if I take that same wood grain that we did our flowers with and emboss a butterfly? Can I use that as a focal image? And the answer was absolutely yes. So I stamped this with Versamark, put the embossing powder and heated it. I do it on this large piece here, so I'm not trying to hold a tiny detailed butterfly, and then I cut it out using the coordinating dies from Coneflower celebrations. The sentiment also is from Coneflower celebrations. It's celebrating you, but you can substitute in for thank you, you made my day, or you can cut a larger piece if you want some of the other sentiments too, but use whatever you've got. It's all good. Okay, so I've got my butterfly. She's ready to go. I have that little circle that I cut out from the same paper in the backdrop here. And then I did a sentiment embossed in copper saying celebrating you. This piece I cut to fit, so it's about 5/8 of an inch by 2 inches, but you cut it at whatever you need depending on the sentiment you've chosen. So my circle is going to go on first. Instead of putting dimensionals on the circle, I'm going to put them onto my card base, because that way I'm not landing on top of those linen threads and kind of having a wonky looking circle. So wherever you decide to go, put a couple larger dimensionals, so the regular dimensionals or just some edge pieces, somewhere there's not a linen thread. At your circle, I kind of moved it away from the center, right there. And then your butterfly, I also popped up on dimensionals. That one's ready to go for me. Lots of dimension here, I know. Put that on at a little angle. There we go. And the sentiment has some dimension as well. You can move these linen threads up or down if you need to a bit to make room for something. There we go. And I did put dimensionals on the back of that, so it can tuck right under the corner, just kind of over to the edge there. Celebrating you. Now, the last thing that I thought would finish off this card, is a few little embellishments. So if you have some neutral sequins, some metallic sequins, any of those work. But I found these tiny little bee trinkets and I thought they would be perfect to finish the card off. So you don't have to watch me glue all of them, but basically I put one on the tag and you'll just do a little dot of glue and stick these right on. One kind of up there and one in the bottom section here. Now there is the finished card. Now it's blinding you. There we go. There's the finished card that hopefully matches kind of the layout we were going for. Okay, and I promised I had a few other cards to show you. These are not part of the competition, but if you sign up for my channel, Lauren Scraplot, this was a video I posted on Tuesday as a part of my Show Me How It's Done series. I post a new video every Tuesday evening, so I'd love for you to check those out also. And this was the card that I showed live, and then these are the two cards that we did at my September club in Canada here. So there's a few other ideas for you, and you can go watch that video to learn how to do these cards. And then here's your fourth one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will see you next Thursday for another edition of the Great North American Stamping Show. But make sure to check out the other ladies' projects. Their links are in the description, and we would love for you to give us a vote by Sunday at midnight so we can crown a winner. See you guys. Bye.